When I tell you guys right now the hell that the author of the 7 Deadly Sins went through with Weekly Shonen Jump before he finally moved over and saw success, you're gonna be like, Jesus Christ! An absolute nightmare, an absolute wow that this dude actually even sustained himself long enough to reach the levels of success that he did, because any average dude that went through what Nakaba Suzuki, the author of Four Nights of the Apocalypse, the 7 Deadly Sins, went through, they wouldn't be able to reach their dreams and their goals. They would just give up. They would throw in the white flag, white towel, whatever the hell you want to call it. They would just be like, nah, I ain't doing it because it is strenuous, it is insane, and I can't even believe that this man, this legend, was able to sustain himself long enough to see the success, to see the heights, because yeah, this is a motivational story, people. Let's talk about it. And before we get into this one, people, hit that subscribe button and hit that bell so you're notified whenever I drop some anime and manga related videos. We cover news, all the latest and greatest in the world of anime and manga. Hit those buttons and bells. Now, obviously, every success story is different, right? Everybody has their own routes, their own paths, and ultimately you have to walk them. And 9 times out of 10, usually it's not going to be as easy as, oh, here's my dreams. Oh, I accomplished it. Oftentimes you got to go through a lot of journeys in the process, and then eventually, potentially, you might find where you're trying to go. Well, the author of the 7 Deadly Sins, Nakaba Suzuki, before the 7 Deadly Sins popped off, he had a very strenuous history of trying to essentially get on, be put on, essentially reach a level of success that he's been craving. And ultimately, let's read this. This is a very lengthy one. I found this. I was crusading, looking like, yo, dog, where's some good anime stuff to talk about here and there? And this post on Reddit was fascinating. Let's read. Get your popcorn because it's a long one, but this is interesting, and again, you'll be motivated by the end of it, I'm sure of it. The mangaka who did his best in Shonen Jump, Nakaba Suzuki. This person said they were doing their segment about the mangaka who did their best in Jump because you see the creator of the 7 Deadly Sins, he did his best in Shonen Jump from Shueisha and other manga companies before publishing the 7 Deadly Sins manga and Kodansha. Nakaba Suzuki, born in Tsukagawa, Japan on February 8th, 1977. During his younger days, his love of manga began when he read Akira Toriyama's, you're probably thinking Dragon Ball, right? You're probably like, yo, he read Dragon Ball, he got inspired. No, not that work. Dr. Slump. He then later read a lot of manga titles such as Kinukiman, Fist of the North Star, and then, yeah, Dragon Ball. It still was in there. It just wasn't the first one that you would expect from somebody that's like, yeah, I got onto Toriyama, I got onto his manga about poopy jokes. These manga stories he had read given him an ambition to become a mangaka. In 1994, he submitted his first short story, Revenge, to Shueisha about a prince named Lieber who was going to have a political marriage with the princess of the kingdom, but when he witnesses the cruelty of what the king did to his people by doing slavery, he decides to liberate them by fighting against the king and claim the throne. It won an honorable mention in Shonen Jump's Hot Step Award 1985 to 1996 and is published in Shonen Jump's Spring Special 1995. Shoutouts to Nakaba writing a story like that. That is the most progressive sounding story I've ever heard a mangaka write, let alone in like the 80s and 90s. But that's probably also why it didn't see success, because back then something as progressive as a story like that, it was just like, yo, get that boring stuff out of here, is what the average masses were thinking back then. In the same year, 1995, Nakaba wrote a short story for the Winter Special Jump called Dreams from a Little Corner on the Street. Then on October 28th, 1996, Nakaba published another short story in Weekly Shonen Jump called Savage, which is a mythological fantasy tale and a sequel to his short story Revenge. You know, if Nakaba did focus on stories that began from his short story Revenge, he could have made a full series revolving around the premise. And if you see the image, like, the art was pretty fire even back then, although that one character kind of looks a little bit like a more cleaned up Hisoka from Hunter x Hunter, like the one with the slick back hair, and then the one with the snake wrapped around looks like, I don't know, a female Rurouni Kenshin or something, but really fire art. Anyway, in early 1998, he wrote a short story, Master of the Sun, in the winter issue of Akamaru Jump, whose title will later be used as a future chapter of the 7 Deadly Sins series. That's interesting. That's probably something to do with Escanor. And that's right there, a little picture of Master of the Sun from 98's winter issue of Akamaru Jump. Then on December 7th of the same year, he made his first full-length series, so he actually got fully serialized come December 98, his full first-length series, which is a golf-themed series called Rising Impact. So he tried to do a golf manga, very interesting. And the art, okay, it's not the most creative thing in the world, and even the art style kind of looks a little bit outdated in comparison to nowadays, but Rising Impact tells a story about a young boy named Gawain who was fascinated with baseball because he likes to watch a ball fly into the sky, until he met a young woman who shows him another sport, which is golf. This made him interested in that sport, that he competes in various golf tournaments and encounters various friends and rivals, which that's very, very interesting, that because, you know, baseball over there is massively popular in Japan. So this was kind of like, hey guys, I'm going to ring you in with talking about baseball, but we're going to golf, motherfucker. It is believed during the early run of Rising Impact, Nakaba does the manga by himself without any assistance until later on. So pretty much it's like he was doing the entire manga by himself in Shonen Jump. What a legend. That's Yoshihiro Tagashi levels. Whoa. He was attracted to one of the assistants who is a female and later became his wife. So he met his wife on the serialization of this manga, Rising Impact. Rising Impact has an interesting premise where it had a kid who competes in golf tournaments, especially that the characters are named after the figures of the Arthurian myths along with its theme. So he's always had a thing for King Arthur and all that stuff, even going back to this golf manga. But despite the neat premise, people were not interested and it was canceled twice. Holy cow, twice? What does that mean? Like, they actually brought something back from cancellation? That's big news. Like, it's possible they actually have done it before of bringing something back. Like, I legit thought that never happened in the history of Jump. We have proof that it came back. The first one ran from December 7th, 98 to April 3rd, 1999. Then it was revived on June 14th, 1999 to begin the second half of the story, which might attract readers. Interesting. So it probably wasn't canceled. Maybe it was just like, yo, let's try and revitalize. Maybe they really believed in this author. And also, ain't it interesting that like this guy's outfit kind of looks like a mixture of either a young Thorfinn or even gives me like Attack on Titan. It kind of looks like the scouts, you know, their jackets and shit. Very, very interesting, considering the fact that Hajime Isayama tried to come with Attack on Titan and Jump and they told him, nah dog, you can't draw, get out of here. Well, they didn't say that. I'm paraphrasing and adding in my own spice, I guess. But again, this time around, it still didn't attract many readers, which led to the series' second and permanent cancellation, March 4th, 2002. So they gave Nakaba Suzuki a lot of chances. I can't fault Jump on this one. As much as we talk about this is canceled, that is canceled, they gave him above and beyond. Like, they actually believed him. So this one, I'm not going to pin on Jump. I'm more so going to say that this is just the experience and the process, so to speak. Rising Impact ran for 4 years, 130 chapters, and 17 volumes. I wonder, did that get an anime? Did Rising Impact get an anime? If it did get an anime, I don't know, but I can't find that it actually got an anime despite running for 130 chapters. So also that myth of, hey, if it goes at least 50 chapters, we're golden. This seemingly went 130 chapters, 4 years, and couldn't garner enough support for an anime, seemingly. After the series cancellation, he decided to make another sports-related manga series for Shonen Jump called Ultra Red, which is a kickboxing manga series, October 21st, 2002, about a young man named Sen Sumeragi who must train and compete in kickboxing tournaments to prove that he is the strongest. It even has some cameo appearances of the characters from Rising Impact. So Nakaba Suzuki was trying to make like the Nakaba-verse, so to speak, and have his characters cross over. However, the series didn't attract many readers, and it was canceled on June 30th, 2003, leaving only 31 chapters and 4 volumes, thus ending his career in Shonen Jump. So that was the final straw that broke the camel's back, where he was like, dog, I can't do this no more. Or Jump was like, yo, we tried with you a lot, bro. You gotta get out of here now. Kind of sounds like the old Shonen Jump were way more tolerant and allowed things really, like, I mean, for crying out loud, running for 130 chapters without canceling it, despite not having an anime, they're never doing that in Shonen Jump again, or at the very least anytime soon. Because of Ultra Red's cancellation, Suzuki decided to move on from Shonen genre for a while and decided to try seinen instead, starting with the short story Memory of the Moon in 2004. This guy went through shit, man, which was published in issue 1415 of the seinen version of Jump called Weekly Young Jump. So he was still with Shueisha. He was just like, maybe I'm not good with shonen. He also wrote another full series which is aimed for a seinen audience called Between Me and You, Boku to Kimi no Eida ni, in March 2004, where it takes place in the future about a young boy named Hawk who wants to move out from his peaceful life and go to the outside world to honor his deceased friend's wishes, and went along with a mysterious woman named Daria and her robot companion. It didn't attract many readers and the series was canceled on March 2006. Poor dude, dog. Wow. It was then Suzuki decided to leave Shueisha and move to Shogakukan. He wrote a short story for a now defunct magazine, Monthly Iki, called Go Breakthrough, and then went back to the shonen genre with another short story called Blizzard Axel, which was published in the 28th issue of the 2004 edition of Weekly Shonen Sunday, which was an ice skating manga that turned into a full manga series on March 9, 2005. Unfortunately, it didn't attract many readers and was canceled June 6, 2007. Do you see what I'm telling you? Like, this is a journey. He then makes another shonen manga, which is a delinquent series called Kongo Bancho on November 7, 2007, about a superpowered delinquent who must fight other super delinquents to take control of Japan. Originally, Kongo Bancho was supposed to be a fantasy genre series, which was later be used in Seven Deadly Sins, but was later changed into delinquent fighting manga series instead. It is a unique series at first, but then canceled on March 10, 2010, 2 years later, leaving only 115 chapters and 12 volumes, though the ending is nice according to this guy. He went back to Shueisha once again. He went back to the seinen genre with the short story for Ultra Jump called Lost Lambs, which is published twice in both 2010 and 2011, and he wrote another short story which is sci-fi western called Cowgirl vs. Flying Saucers, which is a play on the comic and movie Cowboys vs. Aliens in the October 2010 issue of a seinen magazine, Monthly Sunday Gene X. He also wrote a seinen miniseries for Miracle Jump, a special version of Young Jump called Kami Chigiri or Divine Contract in 2011. He then moved to Akita Shoten and once again goes back to the shonen genre, creating a romantic martial arts themed short story called Chiguhagu Lovers on the 20/21 issue of Weekly Shonen Champion in 2011, which then turned to a full series in April 14, 2011. I think we know where that's gonna go. But was then canceled on June 21st, 2012. He also did an artwork illustration for the 2011 May issue of Besatsu Shonen Magazine from Kodansha called The Sky Opens Up. And when he decided to publish his series in Kodansha, he wrote a short story, Seven Deadly Sins, or Nanatsu no Taizai, in the 52nd issue of 2011's edition Weekly Shonen Magazine, which then became a full series in 2012, and well, yeah, you know, rest is history. He had a library leading up to all this. This is a lesson that all of us can take. However many L's you gotta take, as long as you keep on going and trusting the process, you're going to get where you're trying to go. Do not be discouraged by failure. Do not be discouraged by taking losses after losses, because eventually all of those losses are gonna stack up, and now you got an army of these L's that are standing around you to go and punch that door down and get you through to where you're trying to go. Don't give up. Have faith. You got this. We're all gonna get to where we're trying to go as long as we continue on being persistent and don't quit. Don't give up. We got this. Shoutouts to Nakaba Suzuki. Shoutouts to Shueisha for giving him all of those opportunities. Shoutouts to the Seven Deadly Sins. This was inspirational as hell. Have an awesome day, people. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell. I'm just saying. Peace in. Nakaba Suzuki. You're a legend. So